Started.
Okay, so it's going to be stargrave crew creation.
Crew creation.
All right, man. Well, let's see here.
Yep.
Looks like it's going to go live.
Yay.
We're on the
What are you going
podcast.
live on?
Yeah.
Insta.
Hello. We're going to do stargrave character creation.
Oh, crew
At
creation,
a
but yeah.
coffee shop.
Yep, we are at our coffee shop
Yeah.
for the moment, so
Yeah.
sorry if it's a little echoey.
It might be a little bit echoey.
It's
I
not
don't know.
too bad today.
So, yeah, anyways, we're doing our podcast at the same time, too. So.
Yeah, so you get the podcast going.
Yep.
All right.
So, lead us away here
All right,
on...
yep. So
Stargrave.
last time we did just kind of a big overview of Stargrave and how it plays. And then after we got done doing the podcast, the group of us sat down and created our crews.
Okay.
To try to learn how to do crew creation, because it's not just take your guys, add some points, add some weapons, call it good. It's not like Kill Team is. There are a lot of them. There's definitely a lot involved, and we spent an hour and a half creating just the captain and the first mate.
Mm-hmm.
So overview on crews: you have up to 10 miniatures for your crew. You're going to have a captain. You're going to have a first mate. Your crews are broken down between the captain and the first mate. So when you're playing, you're going to basically have a team that's got the captain and 4 crew, and the first mate and 4 crew or 3 crew, depending on how you do it.
How many total crew you said? 4?
The total crew
That you're allowed
with
to
the
have.
captain and the first mate is 10. That's everybody.
10.
So
Okay.
your captain and first mate compose of 2 of the crew, and then you have 8 basically crew figures. I know we're throwing crew around a lot, and it can mean a lot, but when you're actually playing, and I discussed this in the previous podcast, but I know you weren't really on that one, you have your captain's phase, you have your first mate's phase, then you have your soldier phase.
Okay.
So your captain and your first mate is allowed to activate with up to 3 crew members
Okay.
each turn. So the captain goes first, everyone does their captain phase, then everyone does the first mate phase, then everyone does the soldier phase. So all the soldier phases is all the leftover crew members who actually did not activate with the captain and the first mate. So they get to kind of just run independently because they don't have to keep squad cohesion. You do not have to keep everybody within so many inches of each other. That is one thing I really like about it. They can go all over the board wherever they want. In some cases, it might be smart to leave 2 of your specialists, like maybe your hacker and your code breaker, your safe cracker and your code breaker, for example, or in your case maybe your sniper and a code breaker or something.
Depends. Yeah.
Leave them as soldiers and they act in the soldier phase, because then they're not tied to the captain or the first mate. They can still grab loot, they can still do anything they want to do, but you can tag them for a special job. Say maybe you've got one piece of loot that's at the other end of the table, so you decide to send your code breaker to get that on its own, and it just weaves through the building by itself. As long as it gets the loot, which being a code breaker means it can definitely hack a data terminal and take the code, then it just yeets off the board and you're done. That loot is now captured, it's yours.
So do you have to go back? You have to run all the way back, or can I just run
No,
inside the board?
my understanding so far is you just have to get off the board.
So you got
Now-
to grab the loot with your crew, survive
stay dry.
to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And your crew doesn't have to all leave at the same time. As soon as a crew grabs loot, they can just head for the edge of the board and get off there. Now, what I was mentioning earlier with Keegan's stuff is he has ways to sometimes prevent that. I think D kind of has some way to prevent some of it too. So just depending on how
Yeah,
you...
because I've
Yeah, I
got the
do.
ability to...
I do.
Hello, guys. Yep.
Yeah, because I can do put up walls or transport.
Energy shield, is
Yeah,
that?
well, that's for your character.
No,
But so
okay.
we'll talk about that when we start discussing powers a little more in the build process. But there's really, that's it in a nutshell. So as I'm saying, Greg, the premise of the game is not actually just to beat each other into the ground. The premise of the game is to snag the loot and get off the map.
But you got to get it, survive, get off,
Yep.
and get it through the obstacles. And
Yeah,
so.
exactly. And then what I said before, even after the soldier phase is done, there's still the creature phase.
Can I show the book for
Yeah,
a second?
sure.
So,
And the
They're
creature
asking
phase is
this.
where the NPCs, the monsters on the board, mess with whoever's close by. There's basically an AI component that runs the monsters. It's a very straightforward and simple one, but
so how many people can game at the same time with
generally
this?
you run 2 crews. So you
So
would
it'd be
have
like
2 players.
me and you, or
running
you
two-
and
right.
Keegan. So you'd have 2 players with
And
their crews.
You certainly can shoot at each other or try to stop each other. which really it's more about trying to keep the other person from getting the loot, getting off the table, while getting off the table with your loot. There's always a main objective loot, which is always in the middle of the table, and then there's usually 4 or more side loots.
Okay.
I did actually work on a scenario for this the other day that you guys have to actually cooperate because there are 12 pieces of loot on the map. You have 4 turns to get all of it to the other end of the map.
That's all you get is 4 turns?
4 turns.
So, like, we wouldn't be enemies, we'd be cooperating.
You would have been 2 teams hired to help this colony, which is being overrun by the local plant life, get the hell out of Dodge.
How do you win?
You
By
get
getting all the loot off
all
the
the
table.
loot to the end. So the end is where the end of the map. So you're going to start in from the middle to one end of the map. At the opposite end of the map is where the spaceship that's leaving is.
But you both win?
You both.
So that's when we do nothing
both-
but hire
You have an
runners.
objective,
Okay,
you have an
your
objective and
is
you
to get-
accomplish it.
Both of your team's objective is to get as much loot to the other end of the table in 4 turns as you can.
So you're not trying to win over each other at all?
You at this point are supposed to be working with each other.
Okay.
It's a co-op.
This is I
Unless
created
there's
this scenario
Keegan.
for one.
Okay.
Well, okay, created for 2 reasons. 1, it gives you guys a lot of loot. 2,
That's good.
it's a race
co-op
against the clock.
until I see
You
It
don't
is-
have to
winning
like
and then-
each other, you
Right,
just
no,
have to
you're
cooperate.
just-
This is Stargrave, you
You're
guys.
just 2 teams.
Stargrave.
We
is
don't
the
Oh,
have
game.
to-
sorry, I
we don't
keep
have to
forgetting
like
you're
each other.
actually
Yeah.
live with that. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, we can only, we're at the coffee shop, so you can
That's
only
okay.
see so much. I mean, so here's us.
Yeah.
We're just kind of gaming
That's
here at the
us.
coffee
So,
shop.
Yes.
So thought
Um,
we would share with you guys.
No, the idea of that scenario though was a co-op, and you guys because not your enemy is the plants. So
not sure who
each
that
time you guys make your moves and do everything, then when
Oh,
it's the
thing,
creatures
invite somebody
phase,
to go live with
things
you.
are coming onto the board.
Well,
things
then
are
they could kill all of us.
they could.
Okay.
They
okay, I get
easily
it.
could take you out.
Mhm.
But your objectives are such that you have all these tagged objectives, but you guys do not know what the loot is.
But the plants aren't a player, they're like
They're the
things
creatures. They're going to be the
It's a-
AI creatures.
It's a thing that pops up
They're-
because of
they're-
things that we do and
No.
how do we find out what they do to us?
Well, I roll for them to attack you.
Okay.
That's basically what's going to.
Okay, so it's like you're
It's a
still
whole
kind of a
different degree to
GM
guard
kind
sort
of,
of a thing.
yeah,
you.
kind of. I control
Yeah,
the
I
AI
agree with
stuff.
that.
So
Different gardening.
it's like there's 3 people that
It
participate.
is. Yes,
Okay.
it is like that.
Okay.
The game itself does not have to play that way. Usually, when you're doing the creature phase, just one of the other players moves determines the monsters. And from what I've seen from the online stuff, if the monster's on your side of the board, you run the AI monsters, whether it attacks them or them.
Oh,
Because
cowboy.
The AI monsters move in a very specific way. If there is a figure, it doesn't matter whose figure it is, if there is a figure X distance from it, it immediately moves towards that figure and attacks. So the AIs have very specific what they do. The AIs don't collect loot. They don't care. They're there to kill you. And they can kill you.
And so we can hate each other, but we have to cooperate so
Right.
that
I'm
we
ready.
stay
We have to-
alive.
I'm just gonna bring the weed whacker.
So
The game
Stay
requires you
alive.
this
to-
particular scenario I thought would be fun because we will set up some sort of colony with the ship at the end, and you guys are scrambling to grab these tokens and getting them off.
And get rich.
And get rich.
The rest of it is
Oh, I'll be rich because what I'll do is I'll wait till we got it all off the thing,
So-
and then I'll just turn my snipers loose.
you have one. You're not your goal here is not to take
I'll
out the
use my
creatures
burner.
because you will not take out the creatures. I'll tell you that right now. You will not stop the plants. They're going to take over everything, and as we play, they will start controlling the map. And so, if you started at the other end of the map, after 2 turns, that end is no longer available to you to even get to. So if there's still loot there, it's lost.
So you
said you're bringing a burner?
only
I'm
Yeah.
bringing a burner.
Oh, she's bringing a burner. We're good. Just
You're
burn 'em
not
all.
good. So the loot,
Weeds just roasting on an open fire.
in
Go
this
ahead,
case,
Keegan,
you
sing
don't
again.
know. You don't know what the loot
That's Keegan, our
No.
star.
is. But with the loot, you are required. You have a minimum requirement to get paid. And if you do not meet the minimum requirement, which you will not know you meet the minimum requirement until you get the loot there, you'll have a minimum requirement to get 6 of the yellow loot off the table. You will not know which one's color it is until it reaches the
Table.
until it reaches the spaceship area. Now there will be a walled area that's clear at the end of the map where the spaceship is that nothing gets into.
I'm sorry, did you say the yellow loot is good
The
or
yellow
bad?
loot is going to be a required loot. You don't know what it is yet.
Until we get it off the table.
Yeah. So if you do not get all 6 of the yellow loot off the table, you do not get your full pay.
So at this point, all I'm seeing is I'm going to let my other guys stay on my ship, and I'm just going to hire a crap load of runners.
That might actually be smart.
Because then
Just
they
have
can-
somebody who just scrambles.
I'll have my dog create yellow
You
loot,
have,
kind of like yellow snow.
yeah. No. But you will have 4 turns to
Just don't eat
do
the
this.
yellow snow.
So, I mean, with,
Those
with
aren't
there
chocolate
being-
chips. Can you-
Yeah.
You mean they're not 50 rules?
No.
I mean, with there being
God.
20 figures on the table, you guys should be able to get all the loot to the end of the ship.
You would.
It's just, literally, as you're going, everywhere that your people are, plants are coming after you. And they can kill your crew, which
Funny,
causes the loot to drop.
But Clint, for a plant-based game, I don't think it'd be that violent.
Well, look at Plants vs. Zombies. That's
This is-
not so
True.
violent.
That's true.
And this is space.
Oh, okay. Well, fine.
It's
You're on
like the Impossible
It's-
Burger. It's plant-based.
What was the? There's a video game that got violent. What the heck was it?
But anyway, that's one of the scenarios I'm working on. And that one should be a fun one. It's not going to be the first one we run. I want you
Should have
guys to
sent
run
it
a
to our
standard.
Facebook group too.
Yeah.
I should do.
You did.
Pause the TikTok and
Oh,
no,
no.
I
You can
don't
do
have
that.
one phone.
Have at it.
TikTok on the clock. Oh, no, not TikTok.
I don't know. Can you
So
do
let's
it
see.
from one or the other?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to stop the Instagram group if you're getting
No.
feedback and stuff.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
got
How's your
that.
Instagram going?
Yeah, but she's not tied to the same Instagram.
Oh, that's right. She
How
tied to
many
her
people?
She's
Instagram.
tied to her Instagram.
We should really
Oh,
find a
wow,
way
gamers.
to.
We're
Well,
talking
I
about Stargrave.
So at this point, Greg, I think I would just leave it. I mean, we're gonna have the podcast and stuff too.
Weren't we just talking about Instagram 10 seconds ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, you're like 10 seconds too late, so
Yeah.
like keep up or
That's
like
the delay.
get lost.
But that is one of the scenarios
That
I'm
is
working
so
on.
last 10 seconds. So like keep up today.
All right.
All right.
By the way, we have like an invisible person back there, so
Yeah, that
ignore the
doesn't
invisible.
matter. That's fine. All right.
At
So
this point, they all know who she is
Yeah.
at this point.
Ignore the minor.
so the intention for
It's
this.
just a minor inconvenience.
Yeah. The intention for
Oh,
this
God,
particular. Trying not to acknowledge that.
You're
Anyway.
just trying to bypass. Poor Clint's trying to.
Yeah.
We're just trying to go, and
So-
I'm just like, it's a minor.
Okay, you were talking about Stargrave.
So
That's what
yes,
you tell the
so
kids
the
when they're
the
arguing
intent of
crystal
this
section,
particular
so it's
podcast
a
is
minor
creating a
inconvenience.
crew and talking about how crew creation is done. You guys have created your crew, so we did go through it. We know. So I'm going to go over the quick nuances of crew creation, and then we can talk about some of the detail, like the powers and the backgrounds and stuff.
It's very important to have a pen, paper, and some coffee.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is
at,
very
Alright.
important.
at this
We're good.
point, we're gonna suggest though,
Or a laptop.
if you
I
can,
figured out why I can't.
we're gonna bring our laptops and have it on our laptop. 'Cause
Yeah.
Your crew's gonna change. You're gonna change your
Yeah.
stats.
We have to
You might as well just have it on Excel on your
You
laptop.
want to have something easy.
Oh yeah.
So the first thing you will do is you will create your captain, being that's the head of your unit. Your captain and your first mate technically create the same, you just have a little more points for the captain versus the first mate. Bear in mind that all these, the captain and the first mate, do earn experience points. They do level up, their stats do change. So you want to make sure you're putting a lot of thought into these guys. The first thing you do with your captain is you're going to create a background. What's their background? Where are they from? Real quick, I'm just going to touch on these. I'm not going to give great details. So you've got a choice of biomorph, a cyborg, a mystic, a robotics expert, a rogue, a psionicist, a techer, or a veteran. Now everyone chose a little different on how they did theirs. And really knowing in the game, you're going to have people who are basically hacking into data. You're going to definitely, ideally want somebody who's capable of doing that. You can use a crew to do it. You're also going to want some sort of safe cracker, some sort of, someone who can break into crates and everything. if you don't give that power or commands to one of your command units, like your captain or your first mate, you can still have a crew to do it. You're not out of luck, but it is good to keep in mind. Dee went a more mystical route with her captain, so it was kind of an interesting what they can do, where Keegan went more of a technical route with his captain. Once you've figured out the captain's background, that tells you what bonuses you get to your stats and what powers you can choose from as core powers. While you are allowed any power in the book to a degree, you have to have a certain number of core powers to meet that requirement. Now your powers, that can be any number of things, and we won't go into great detail on it just yet, but
Go ahead.
it's handy to have. Now, the captain has his own stats, and his stats are modified, of course, by whatever your background is, plus any powers that may also apply to the stats or affect the stats. So, in the case of the captain, you'll get more powers. You'll have an ability to take more powers than you would with the first mate. The captain is also going to have better gear. Your captain starts at level 15.
Wait, no. Go ahead, Clint.
No, you're fine.
I'm
You
just
guys are
going to see
playing
about
with-
it.
So you can get to go both. We're trying to see about doing a live stream too. So, the first mate builds the same way as the captain. You pick its background. It's going to give you bonuses with that. You pick the powers, but you don't have as many powers to choose from with the first mate, and your gear is not as high level. So your first mate will also start out at level 0, so they'll take longer to level up. Bear in mind, though, your first mate can potentially become your captain depending on how gameplay goes. So you don't want to have too weak or too powerful of a first mate. Some people I've seen do put a lot more reliance on their first mate, but really I think you're kind of handicapping yourself doing that. Then the last step is recruiting your crew. So you would have basically 8 more figures or 8 more crew remaining, and that you buy. So you are given a bank of credits to use to buy your crew with. And that's where you can, it is limited, that's for sure, it's starting. You get 400 credits, and some of your specialists are 100 each. So that does limit your options a bit. Now bear in mind, this is your starting, and you will earn credits as you play. So you can purchase different crew as you play. Your crew is not locked in. You can mix and match. You can even have potentially 2 or 3 different crew sets, and you just rotate out which crew you want to use for whatever scenario. So that just kind of depends.
So we're going through, just saying, Clint.
Oh, sure.
This is YouTube, so we're going to go do Stargrave creation, and we're at the coffee shop. So see, it's me and Clint. There's Keeganator. Dee.
Hi.
Yeah. No, that was weak, Dee. Say hi again.
Hello.
Okay, that works. So there you go. It's impromptu to
It's
YouTube.
impromptu, yeah. Now that we've gone through crew creation for the most part.
Well, hey,
but
we're
you
just-
know,
people can
and that's-
jump in and ask questions.
Yeah,
about
and that's the
Stargrave
most
if they
part for the
want.
podcast.
Podcast.
The nice part of the crew creation part, the crew itself, if you did not take, say, a technical specialist for your captain or your first mate, you can now get a code breaker or case cracker or hacker or something to cover that, and your crew can be mixed and matched. Once you get money, and you do have to spend money to heal your crew because you don't want to leave them wounded, and you got to watch it because wounded crew can become permanently wounded if you're not careful. You will roll for that at the end of a scenario. Like I told Keegan before, you could have, you're allowed up to 4 specialists. You could have 4 snipers if you really wanted to.
Well, I got 2 at least.
Yeah, so that'll be handy in some regard. Problem with your snipers is, at least for the one scenario, you don't want them sitting still. And if they move, there is a +1 penalty to shoot. But it's a +1 penalty. It's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah, because I went with 2 snipers, a medic, 2 sentries, and 3 runners, so.
Yeah, you can have robotic crew members. Now, a robotic crew member will have the exact same stats as every other.
Yeah.
They're just not susceptible to things like gas clouds, poisons, stuff like that. Your crew's gear is pretty basic. It's whatever it lists. Usually it's some sort of firearm. If it's a hacker, it's going to be a data pad. If it's a code breaker, or it's just a thief, case cracker, they're going to have a pick set, stuff like that. They may or may not have armor. They may have heavy armor. They may have light armor. Depends on what you use. Obviously, armor is going to affect movement and everything else. So you just kind of figure out how you want to do it. When you're first building or first starting, I would not worry about spending a ton on specialists or heavy stuff. There are a couple standard troop units that are free, basically. The recruit and the runner are free characters. You pay nothing for them. So you could even just build your entire crew out of recruits and runners. But bear in mind, they have the weakest armor, the slowest movement, and not the best stats.
Hold on a second. No, we're not. We're not really mini warm-up. We're just at the coffee shop. So this isn't the gamer hangout.
Yeah, sorry.
We're going over Stargrave, and I'm just testing out the phone, actually. So we're just at the coffee shop, as you can see. And yeah.
We're doing it the coffee.
Yeah, so it's not the gamer hangout, but it is Stargrave.
It's just talking about crew creation for Stargrave and stuff, since we've got crews created and we're starting to look at jumping in and playing.
You know, the more we talk about this, the more I kind of feel felonied. Because it's an illegal felony to mess with the Stargrave.
What?
Yeah, well, whatever.
Okay.
We're all bad guys. What does it matter?
He thinks he's funny.
Yeah.
No,
So,
you're
no,
right. I'm
this
not
is
funny.
our
I'm
normal-
hilarious.
So,
Well, no, he's going over crew creation, so
yeah.
we will.
Making a
This
podcast
is-
at the same time.
But mini warm-up. This is kind of a test for when the crew is created. Then we're gonna maybe next week we can do a game, huh?
We're talking about at
Just
this
why not?
point,
We might just do it
getting
live.
getting a
Yeah.
beginning game figured out, learning to play.
So yeah, it's a bit early, but it's not our normal show. We're just trying to get out.
Hanging out.
Basically, the idea was to do a podcast. We just decided to do expansion.
Yeah,
a bit.
we're doing the podcast at the same time. So
But people on that podcast are going to be so confused.
they're gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, well,
Not really.
Really,
I mean-
doesn't start in the beginning of the podcast, so even in the middle of the podcast. And most everyone has listened to our commute, so they're used to us being all over the map anyway.
Squirrel.
It's not really, and we're not really that far off topic. We are still talking about Stargrave.
This is not a test,
squirrel,
it's a
technically
good game.
dice.
Yeah, we play that game every day. Mini
Yeah.
warm-up. We test.
Oh. All right, so since we've kind of covered that, I want to touch base with Dee, and I want to touch base with Keegan, and I want to talk about what you guys created for
But-
crew and why.
Where's the base?
Base, we're touching the base.
Touch.
Yeah.
Okay. Touch the
This
base.
is the base.
Touch.
This is the base.
You
The
know
table
what?
holds
I'm not
everything
going
up.
The
to.
base.
I'm not going to touch it because you know what? Because it's all about that base. About that
The
base. No
base.
trouble.
You just went live with that. And that's
Watch
Keegan,
it.
who's practicing for Dancing with the Stars or
Yeah,
some shit.
sure, something.
Yeah, something.
So, congratulations. That
So-
will live on the
Pom-pom.
internet forever now.
Huh? What?
Pom-pom.
Who are you saying hi to, Keegan?
What? Hi. What?
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So
And then there's poor Dee. She's trying
What?
to.
she's trying to put things in an
Well, you're
organized
not poor.
fashion.
You have a
so
lot of money. It's just
I'm
you
re-
hide your money.
I'm
everywhere.
recopying my chicken scratch.
Okay, well,
What was mini warm-up? Oh boy.
I don't.
Probably you.
Probably
dancing,
you.
man.
Yeah, probably you.
Probably you
Probably
doing
you. Yeah.
Because he rolled his eyes at it too.
Well, I figure if I'm recopying it, I might
Yeah.
come up with a question or
Yeah,
something.
sure. That's fine. Well, then I'll start with Keegan. So let's go over your build.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about your captain and your first mate. What you went with and why.
Okay, so with my captain, which I'm going to use the Necron for, so he'll be robotic.
That makes sense.
You're gonna use a Necron.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
you
why
can.
not?
You can.
Yeah.
So
he's
it's-
gonna be a techer. So he's
There you
got data skip, data knock, and data jump. Create a holographic wall and transport. So we'll literally hack in, toss somebody off the board.
Yep.
Damn, that's
So his
smart.
is based
Okay.
around just the data.
Yeah,
so it's
didn't
gonna be-
get that off the board, and then went with a rogue, which I'm gonna go. I still gotta find one to get to you. A rocket raccoon.
Oh yeah, for sure. That'd be cool.
Rocket raccoon for that. He'll have bait and switch, cancel power, quick step, and conceal firearm. Because why not
Sure.
hide your gun and.
So you're
Oh,
basically
hey, I have this little device. Bang.
yeah. So basically, what you're covering on your end is being able to hack any type of code loot, any kind of data loot, and any kind of physical loot. So crates or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't. Is it quick step?
The rogue kind of covers the. Yeah, just.
I
the
don't know if
movement
I
things.
even have the ability to break in with rocket raccoon.
Yeah, rogue, I think, generally does. Now, I know we're talking about powers, and we didn't go into detail on the powers, and that's fine. I can touch. base on that later.
Because with the bait and switch,
Yeah,
I have to
that's
wait till
true.
they broke it in.
Yeah, that's true. So,
I might have to rethink my.
well, just grab.
crew.
Yeah, I'd say grab a crew member like a case breaker or something, or you could even do a chiseler. Just as
You know
chiselers are
what?
really cheap.
Where is? I'll get rid of my 2 sentries.
So you have
Go with what was the case
many
breaker?
war
A
you
case
got
breaker
400 credits.
It's
to
going to
start
be your
with.
better locksmith or the
Create
better
your-
lockpick, but they
your
are
guy,
75
so-
credits.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So
That leaves me.
They're-
as long
not
as you
too
don't exceed
expensive
4
then, are they?
specialists, you're good.
Clint, it
Do what?
doesn't sound like they're very expensive, so it gives you enough money to get a
Oh,
four
the
characters.
crew?
Yeah.
So, in the beginning, crew can be expensive if you want a lot of specialists, because you're allowed up to 4 specialists. Some of the specialists
Yeah.
are 100 credits
Keegan
each.
decided
Well,
to
one
dance.
of them's
That is for
150.
So
Yeah.
Which
you
is
know
what I
where we're
got.
at
Trooper,
anyways,
yep.
right?
I got the 150.
Dance again, Keegan.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Now,
You
let's,
had
let's
It
You had
has
a
to be.
request.
It's
yeah,
in
we
the
need
moment.
to stay on track, though.
It's in the
He
moment.
doesn't want to do
He
it
can't.
again. We'll
It's
try to
not
catch him.
impromptu. He's
We'll
got to
try to
just.
catch him.
But that would, yeah, that's
gotta
going to give
feel
you
it.
that option, because not every loot's going to be secured. Generally, the main objective loot is the one that you know is probably going to be either locked or data coded or something.
Yeah.
You know, so you can count on that for sure.
So yeah. So anywho, so now that we went over my first mate, and then for my crew, I went with 2 snipers, a medic, 4 runners, and now my case breaker, which leaves me an extra
Yeah.
25 credits.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So the runner is basically your standard grunt soldier,
But
and
if you're-
it's free. You don't pay any points for that.
if you're using the Necron though, so you've got the Necron to teleport between.
The teleport the dad, take care of my dad.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
he-
your runner is what, faster?
A runner
Yeah, he
is
moves faster.
runner
Light
is a
armor and a
standard
knife, I
soldier.
think.
He has a pistol and a knife, and that's it. There's nothing else. He has basically just heavy clothes.
Heavy close.
A runner is a red shirt, plain and simple. A runner and a recruit are red shirts.
So
The
that-
nice thing is the runner is a little faster than the recruit.
But
Yeah, that's why I went with him instead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. So if you structure this crew right, you're going to be able to get the loot, get off the board, but you don't engage the other person.
You could.
You could,
potentially, yeah.
depending on the scenario.
That's what my sniper there for, in case D gets too close, or
Okay.
whoever gets too
Yeah.
close. Back off,
But
it's mine.
your sniper would also be useful against the creatures.
Right, I could knock
So,
them all off.
The
try to prevent an
tricky
attack.
part with the creatures and stuff, especially if you're snipers, if it does engage one of your crew, shooting into your crew does run the risk of hitting your crew instead of the creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth it. It's just a runner.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely an option. Now, the standard game is going to be 1 main loot and 4 additional loot, 2 data, 2 physical loot.
Yeah.
That's the standard game. Now, we were talking heavy on that other one because that's what that scenario was all about. But you can also, you know, in a normal game, you possibly can shoot the other person, just
Is
either
it
to try to
cold here?
stop them or.
Warmuck can go sticky
Taquito,
at 80
little
degree
bit.
temperatures.
He's got 80-degree temperatures. Well, whatever.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
We would have 80 degrees too if we turned the thermostat up.
It's only 70 in here, but still.
Yeah,
very
that's
good.
cold.
fine. It's a small room. We're good.
It's not that cold anymore.
You know what? Hey, we put them up. Guess what? We in the hood now.
That's right, man.
Now we in the hood.
This is Keegan, infamous Keegan. If he's not dancing, he's telling jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
I think.
D.
Anyway,
Let's look at
Yes.
your configuration here.
I'm sorry. Those of you on the podcast,
Brian, like,
we're also broadcasting to YouTube, so just
Yeah.
it's been fun.
So, all right. So your captain and your first mate. What are you going with?
Mystic
Okay.
and Cyborg.
Okay.
His
So your
first
captain's a mystic, which means what does it give them? Kind of
Okay. Void Blade.
nice. That's
Suggestion. Puppet Master.
that's sick.
I know. That's why I picked it.
And I'll talk about the powers here in a minute.
Mystic Trance. And Fling.
Yeah, fling's not nice either.
I know.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So you're
I'm
basically
using War Machine characters. I can't remember what her name
yeah.
is.
Oh, I don't know on that one.
Gosh.
And then what are you doing on your first mate? For your first mate?
It's her.
First mate's
it's
a
her
cyborg,
robot-y
so-
thing. So it's
That's-
a cyborg.
oh, yeah,
it's a
that-
cyborg.
I'm
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
a
you got your
cyborg,
tall-
and her companion mech. I'm using for the cyborg first mate.
Okay. So what do they have? What's your first mate have?
Oh, I
for
guess I have to
goodies?
go back
So-
to the
Because it
page
is-
that I
Go over
have.
here.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
So here's Dee creating her character.
Hi.
Well,
There's her notes.
She has energy shield. Oh, that's my chicken scratch.
Well,
Still,
I can't read it.
I made
energy
it really
shield's
nice.
handy.
Okay.
Okay, energy
Jeez.
shield, because it absorbs 3 danger. It
Yeah.
says.
3 damage. Yeah.
Damage. I'm sorry.
Yep.
See, I can't even
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
Mini Warmuts is hanging in there for us. Thank you, Mini Warmut. I guess people are bouncing in and out, but
Data knock.
Yep. Data knock is going to let
Unlocks
you.
the
That's
data.
going to let you. Yeah, that lets you hack into a system.
we have a
instantly.
question.
Lift.
Sure.
E
the-
equals MC squared, and that is the answer.
Hold
That's
on,
the final
one
answer.
second,
That's the
Ian,
only
sorry.
answer you
Okay.
need to know.
Hold on,
So what-
Keegan. So, Mini Warmut, who's over here on YouTube, so everyone on the
Yeah.
podcast knows, is
So that's
asking,
Brian.
where's the robots? Do you got robots in here?
There
Yes.
are robots in
Okay,
here.
so there's robots in
So
the
they
game.
cannot be your main, so your captain or your first mate, but you can have robots in your crew. So they work just like any other crew, except they're a little hardier, and immune to certain things. I actually kind of touched base on that briefly earlier, and he probably missed that. But yes, you can use robots. In fact, the crew I'm building has 2 robots in it. They're actually my specialists.
Wait, you can turn them into robots?
No, they're just robots. They always were robots. They're part of the game. They're the actual miniatures for the game.
Oh.
So you can.
So yeah, I can use them.
So you can.
My 2 robots are probably going to be. I'm thinking about making one a commando, and the other a grenadier, but I'm not sure.
That
Well,
kind
don't
of
they-
that kind of sounds Star Wars like with that black
Kinda.
robot unit.
Well, if you'd actually seen the miniatures, they're very Star Wars droid looking.
no, are they?
The elongated, narrow face and everything. Yeah,
Oh, geez.
they're just really cool. But yeah, they're just
not
crew.
The
They're
droids you're
not.
looking for.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
How to do it? How to do it? How to
So
do
yeah,
it.
there's a lot of things the robots aren't affected by, like lack of oxygen. So certain events, like if we're doing a mission on a spaceship, and you blow a hole in the hull,
Send in
the robots don't care, but it will affect the rest of your crew. So it just all kind of depends. And there are some scenarios I want to work on that are on a spaceship. We'll use the kill team,
Oh,
a
that'd be
rogue
cool.
trader map
Yep.
for taking the one ship. So that one will be interesting. And there are a couple scenarios in the book for salvaging derelict ships.
And stealing shit.
Taking not so much stealing ships, but taking the loot off the ship.
Oh.
That,
That'd be kind of cool to be able to run up on each other and, oh, hey, bang, shoot the
yeah.
ship.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so you definitely use robots. All right, Dee, sorry, continue on with your first mate.
Okay,
Just want
so
to see if anybody would respond. The
My
only
s-
one who's watching is Mini Warmut. I'm sorry.
That's
Go ahead.
okay.
Me, but I don't want to
He's-
see me dance
he's-
again.
my cyborg has it has energy shield, which absorbs 3 damage.
Yep.
Data knock, which unlocks data. Lift. What does that do?
That's kind of like telekinesis where you're moving
Okay.
something, but
Okay, and regenerate.
that's
so
handy.
You can regenerate yourself.
Yeah, 'cause
I
Yeah,
guess.
well,
that's-
yeah.
you regenerate damage.
And can't you, doesn't yours have one where if I kill off one of your guys, you can walk up and
Yeah,
heal it?
so she has the zombification one. That's actually on her captain.
Oh,
Which
okay,
is
sorry,
one of the things I was
captain,
going
okay.
to talk about with powers, because that's one we definitely want to address.
Can you use the droid or the robot as the first mate or the
Oh,
leader?
that's the puppet master.
No. Not the
no,
captain.
The captain or the first mate cannot be robots. They can be cyborgs, but they cannot be robots.
So that'd be no Mini Warmut.
So the puppet master is the one that makes zombies.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
Puppet Master makes zombies, and a Puppet Master will take a character that has 0 wounds and reanimates it. Yours or your other crew's. Doesn't matter whose, as long as she's near it. Boop, there it goes. It's somebody.
But then it belongs to me.
It belongs to
it
you. You
belongs
The
control it.
MFA, modeling for advantage, he's in
So
there now.
you
Oh,
die,
is
I
Who?
bring
You can
back
possibly-
to life and
Hello,
it belong,
Kaiser.
you
Yes.
This is
belong
just a
to
test
me.
stream.
Yeah,
from
no
our-
thanks.
Now, after the scenario is over, after that,
Don't they go
you
back
don't
to
get
dead?
to keep them. They're just dead. They're done.
Well, that sucks.
But
So,
Okay.
Kaiser, this is for modeling for advantages here. So this is our test stream on the phone. So check
Yep.
this. This is our coffee shop. See the table we got? I know you guys on the podcast.
This is home base.
Yeah. Then there's Keegan who does the dancing. Otherwise,
You?
yeah.
yeah,
We're at the
anyway.
coffee shop, man, and I don't mean to interrupt Clint. So go ahead,
Yeah. So
Master Clint.
Whoever you are.
He's the game master.
one thing that we haven't touched on with our crew yet, and I wanted to get this, is your gear. So there's a limit on how much gear someone can carry. A crew crew members can only carry one piece of gear. Plus that you can swap that gear. The captain and the first mate, however, have the ability to carry more gear, but it is still limited. So a captain has 6 slots for carrying gear. which means you can carry 6 pieces of gear or items.
Sorry,
No, you're fine.
we got a request for Keegan to dance. Go ahead, Clint.
No, you're fine.
It's not out of. It's okay.
Eventually, it's gonna happen. It will happen again.
Yeah.
It's just not.
That's
you
true.
Can't, he doesn't have it choreographed. It has to be spontaneous.
This is just off the cuff with coffee kind of thing.
Well, and we're actually podcasting, so there is a purpose. But
Keegan just had.
Podcast has gone
Yeah.
everywhere.
Keegan doesn't hold his coffee well. That's where the dance comes in.
the captain can have 6
Oh, I
gear
can't
slots. The first mate gets 5. So that's going to be your weapons, your armor, your whatever, your extra stuff. The captain can pull their gear from the general equipment list.
Oh, now
As-
we gotta go through gear for him.
Yeah, gear is now where you want to look at. And that's one of the things we were going to get to after we did the crew and everything. Like I said before, crew gets 1 gear slot, and that's you pick whatever from there. But, you know,
Definitely gonna make a suggestion.
Now-
If you play this game, I would definitely just get a laptop and run an Excel sheet rather than writing it all down.
Oh.
It'd be a whole lot easier.
Just proving the mini warm-up you can actually write, Keegan. That's all.
you can
I
write
know
Just
he's
don't
gonna-
attempt to read it.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even read mine,
So,
join the club.
some gear require more than 1 slot, depending. Most of the time, a simple knife, a handgun, pistol, whatever, they're only going to take 1 gear slot. But like a carbine rifle, shotgun, for example, is going to take 2. It's because it's a bigger weapon. Armor does take a gear slot, which means for a crew member who only has 1 gear slot, you're pretty much only going to have 1 weapon. Now, bear in mind, crew, when you first take them, automatically come with some gear. So it's not like your crew has nothing. It's like, oh, you only have a gun.
So they come with basic gear,
So-
and then we'll select an
For-
additional gear for them to go
For
with.
example, your runner. We're just going to use the runner. The runner comes with a pistol and a knife
Right.
and 1 gear slot.
Good question, mini warm-up, because we didn't ask him if we could say something. So just to be on the safe side, we're not saying what coffee shop we're at. I mean, because
I think it's very obvious by the
It's
colorful
pretty-
cups that are.
Well,
in
you gotta
pictures.
think where they're at. They don't have one because this
You
place is
probably don't
only
have one.
available
Yeah,
in
this is only
2
Midwest,
states.
so I'm just gonna say we're.
So
at
we're
Scooter's
not
Coffee.
at the famous one. We're not.
We're not at Starbucks.
We're not.
No.
Oh no, he said
I don't
the word.
care. We're
Sorry.
not getting paid, so we're not copywriting anything.
that's true.
And we're not there.
And we're
So-
saying where we're not.
We're across the street from there.
At this point, I've seen enough
Down
people
at the
have
coffee
Starbucks
shop.
cups in their videos. It doesn't matter.
No mini warm-up. There's a lot of things out here. In
So,
Iowa.
for example, Keegan,
Internet.
your
What, we have
sniper.
internet?
A coffee shop on every corner.
Yeah, literally.
Clint's getting frustrated.
Well, let's see. Ours is across the street from a Starbucks, so
That's what I just
I
said.
mean, we can see the Starbucks
He
from
doesn't
here.
pay attention. I just said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, your sniper, Keegan, is going to come with a carbine, light armor, and a hand weapon of your choice, probably a knife or something. So, it's an option for you, plus you get 1 gear slot. Now, the reason that the captain and the first mate get more gear slots, and the reason that's important, is as you steal loot, it could contain unique gear, alien artifacts, high-tech stuff that you can equip on your character for later campaigns. There is that possibility. So you will use a gear slot depending on how many slots it needs. The plus side,
A giant unicorn hat?
no.
Oh.
But if you got a laser rifle, for example, it's going to be a 2 slot. But at this
With
point,
unicorn colors?
sure.
Lots of pink.
Also, armor takes
Lots of
slots.
pink and purple and yellow and blues and greens.
Aqua.
Yeah.
Why are you? No, why are you? Every time.
Four full.
Everybody's probably like, "Hey, we are staying off the show tonight. We do
don't
not
like-
want to see that again."
Yeah.
We don't like each other at all.
I'm getting some of the goofiness out
We're
before the
acting-
actual.
We're
Hang
we're,
out.
we're good actors.
Dude, can't handle the
We do not
caffeine.
like each other at all.
Yeah.
We do not get
We are
along in real
frustrating
life.
Clint though horrifically because
So-
he's trying to maintain his train of thought.
He's trying to stay on track, but
I'm
I'm
very
only
trying.
one thing.
Sorry, sorry.
All right. So and this part is important, so I apologize. But for the captain and the first mate, you don't get assigned crew, or assigned gear. You have to pick it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So we already know you have a sword.
True.
So your sword is 1 gear slot.
Dun, dun, dun. That's all you get.
So that would leave you with 5 gear slots.
What?
My
We get a
lady-
total of 6 gear
So
slots?
the cap, yes, if you've been paying attention earlier instead of goofing
No,
off.
I've been dancing about all of
Yeah,
them.
The only
The captain
way,
gets 6 gear slots. The first mate gets 5.
Okay.
the only way you can get the 4 of us in one room is you have to pay us enough.
What? I'm not paying anybody anything.
What?
Gamers and coffee.
Oh, screw this crap. I'm out. I'm out of here now. That's it. That's it. I'm not getting paid. I'm out. I'm out. Bye.
All right, see, we can't pay.
All right.
Breathe deep, breathe.
So
No oxygen in there.
you have the option to purchase.
What? What? We don't get paid and now there's no oxygen?
Yes. I'm out.
God, this is horrible. This is...
What did you guys ever do without me? You actually stayed on track, maybe?
No.
Sorry.
No, we did all about that thing. About that.
So with
So
your
you guys got the
captain,
dance.
I would say spend a gear slot on
You just
light
have to
armor.
be patient and wait, and it happens.
Light arm.
Yeah, so just
Okay. I'm composed.
because it makes sense your captain would have light armor plus the sword. Your sword is what has the void blade power, which I know I keep saying I'll get back to the powers and then I don't, but I will.
Okay. So
Did-
light armor and then, okay.
And then the sword. You can give them a pistol if you want. You have the slot for it, but that gives you 4 additional slots for
I
other
would
stuff like,
Have
you
to
know.
read that.
Yeah, and you'll want to go through some of the other gear
Or take a
stuff
picture
as
of
well. Well, there's several pages for your equipment.
Okay.
Not everyone's got a breeze.
Well, either that or I'm gonna have to, look at the book for a little while.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Again,
But that's
okay.
fine. That's just, we're just trying to get the basic stuff down. Your first mate, who's going to have 5 slots, I would say heavy armor because of what he is, which is actually going
True.
to.
Crystal's watching.
Heavy armor is
She's
still
seen
only
that.
1 gear slot.
Because he's a mech.
Yeah, basically.
Heavy armor.
Yep. So that's only 1 gear slot for that. And I think he had a sword, didn't he?
I think so. I think they
Okay.
both had
so,
swords.
just so you got 1 gear slot for your sword, basically. It's
And-
considered a hand weapon in this, which
Oh, and I
is
put
fine.
sword here too.
Yeah, I
for
would put
her.
sword. So,
Sword and light armor,
Yep.
sword and heavy armor.
and then you'll just be able to, it just heavy armor will be a little better.
Well, yeah, because he's like a mech, so. Okay.
Um,
And how many slots do I have in
so
for
you
my
have
captain?
6 for the captain, 5 for the
6
first mate.
and 5. Okay.
Good.
All right. So what are you thinking for a weapon for your captain, Keegan?
Thinking something.
Were you going to do a long gun?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So your captain.
I'd rather do a carbine rifle, not a fully,
Well,
not
so-
the fully automatic.
The carbine is actually in this game basically your standard rifle. Your So I guess easiest way to explain anything they list as carbine is a non-rapid fire weapon. So most of the standard bolt
Rapid
action
fire.
rifles, whatever, would be a carbine, and rapid fire is going to be your auto weapons. So
Okay.
your ARs and all that stuff. Then you got a shotgun. That's basically how this breaks those weapons down.
Let's give a shotgun to the
Shotgun.
captain.
Okay, so that will give you 2. That's 2 gear slots for that. A little more limited range, but it's cool. It also has a damage modifier, which we'll talk to about when we start playing. Then you'll want to consider armor as well.
Shotgun. Yep.
You did.
I'm
At
right-
the very
Get
least,
off my music trip.
I'm riding shotgun.
at very least, I would say light armor for you, but you could do heavy armor. It just is a -1 to your movement if you do heavy armor.
What? So would you say they're light and heavy?
Yeah, light and heavy. I mean, there's combat armor as well.
What about
Um,
a flamethrower? Do they have those?
Yes.
Okay, so flamethrowers. What do you call them? Just flamethrowers?
Flamethrower.
All right. Well, Warhammer is a little different. Sir.
Well, this isn't Warhammer, is it? You could give your captain combat armor, which would take 2 gear slots,
Well, what would?
and it doesn't actually give you a move penalty. So that might be bad for you.
Yeah,
So-
I
It's a
wanna do
+4 to
combat
your armor mod, so that's +4 to your damage resistance. That's kind of nice.
Okay, so it adds that much to the damage.
It does,
And
but
Wow.
he,
it
Plus
took 2
4
gears
to the
up.
it takes 2 gear slots. You also pay 50 credits at the end of every game to keep it upkeep it.
Plus 4 to the damage.
Ouch!
So
And if you don't have it,
yeah, But
So-
you get free gear with it. So it includes the hand weapon, includes basically a hand weapon, so a knife, a pistol, and a filter mask. Automatically comes with that combat armor. It's basically it's assumed it's environmental armor. In your case, it just looks like your Necron robot suit. Basically, you just have really
Oh,
unique
I'm definitely
and fancy.
gonna. Can I put that same thing on? Yeah, I'm gonna already
Did
switch
you want
over.
to scan the page or?
We will in a minute.
What is this? Look at
I'm
it.
gonna put that on Rocket Raccoon already.
You could, yeah, for sure.
So that's your character, Keegan. Rocket.
Rocket's his first.
Yeah,
name.
I gotta find an STL file and then have Clint print it out
Yeah.
so that
Some of those Rocket Raccoon files are expensive, man.
we'll be paying what did I say?
I don't know, Crisis Protocol fee, yeah, 40 bucks for the
Crisis
miniature.
Protocol. Like, hey, yeah, no.
I mean, I'd check eBay and see, but
I'm gonna get
I
a little
did.
tiny Barbie and Ken for him to print, and then.
Why? So you can see a Barbie girl in the Barbie
you know
world.
what? I already have a list of things I need to be printing, and I'm not. I gotta
and
print a whole set of
dog
dice.
and a-
Yeah.
Well, nobody's printed anything for me yet, so somebody needs to print something. Okay.
Well, okay, but to you, in all fairness, you asked us to print money, and we can't do that.
Okay, so I got one more. I got 2 more slots to
So-
do something with.
Now you can leave those open for gear that you acquire later. You don't need to
Can you
utilize
take
them.
your gear on and off as you go?
You can but you have so when you start when we start the scenario, when we start playing, whatever you pick is what you have.
Right.
So next time you can change that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah,
like
so you could-
so I could fill it up, max it out for the first event,
Yep.
and then before event number 2,
Yeah.
I can swap out as I
So
want, what I want,
yeah,
as I
'cause,
want.
you know, you might want something that's not gonna be so imposing.
Yeah.
The nice thing with like the combat armors, it already gives you a knife, a pistol, and a filter mask. So you don't have to pay gear slots for that stuff. So the filter mask, which is handy, basically it's a gas mask. Concludes an oxygen supply. Figure wearing filter mask is never affected by gas or low oxygen levels. So when we're playing on ships or highly toxic areas, you know, if that's part of the scenario,
You know, I
then
might just say fuck it, and that might be what
Well-
everyone gets.
you also
you
have
are live streaming, dude. It's
yeah,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
lit.
It's all right.
You
You're all
also
good.
have, for your tech side of it, a deck that you would want to purchase for one of them.
Now, question, Clint. How is toxic environments going to come up with this quite
Yes.
a bit? Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
so the
I'm just-
scenario will dictate whether it's a toxic environment or not. You may be in a jungle area that has low oxygen or some sort of poisonous gas being emitted by the plants.
Okay. But I'm just saying it's something you're going to run across.
It's something you could run
So
across
this
depending
might
on the
not be a
scenario.
bad idea to actually at least load some others with it. At least
Yep.
snipers
Is-
or somebody.
What about gas masks?
Well,
Do
this-
they have
you-
that?
Well, that's
yeah,
what the-
that's what
that
the filter mask is.
Okay. Well, I'm
Yes,
just
and you
asking
can
on-
give those to crew. I mean, crew have one slot.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no, you can't. There's a 2 slot.
yeah, okay, those you can't. That's well, the filter mask you can. It's a one. The filter mask itself is
Oh,
a
yeah.
one slot item. The same with your deck. Now, when you if you take the Cyber Runner or the Cyber Cracker, they automatically get the deck. But your main character, your Techer, like doesn't have it. They don't get a deck automatically. You would need a deck to hack.
Okay, so I need a deck.
Yeah.
How much is that?
Deck is one slot because it's small. The nice thing with a deck is when you have a deck, it gives you a +6 to your roll to unlock data loot. Now you unlock data loot automatically with your 1 power, but you
I
have
got
to,
the data
So-
knock.
the data knock. But you have to declare that's your turn. You're not doing anything else that turn, but using that power.
Right.
So, well, actually, no. Let me check on data knock. Might work automatically.
Because if it does, it would not be
Then
wise
you
for me to
wouldn't-
have that.
you wouldn't-
But
yeah.
it wouldn't hurt to put that on my first main.
It wouldn't. Let me see what data
Please.
knock.
So it's not too terribly complicated to give your characters what they need for this game.
No, no.
And
It's
it,
just a
and it
matter
seems
of-
like once you're set up, then you're
Yeah.
set up. You're
Good to
But
go.
that's what I'm
and,
saying. So
and
now-
you have the option to
then
mix
it's
and
general
match.
maintenance after.
Well, here's a question I have because I didn't get to sit with you guys the last time. So, you want to try to make the crew as adaptable to whatever environment you may want to play in. But can you have more than one crew? So you could swap them out.
You
depending on
could,
the
that's what I'm
environment
saying. So-
that you go to.
The only restriction with the game is you have to purchase that crew. You have to
Oh,
pay the
okay,
money.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
not
so
something
you
you're going to have.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
can have all these guys, and then
So
I
you-
can go purchase more runners.
So
So
you
or
do
whatever.
what you can. with
Data
it.
knock does require you to use your power that turn.
Right,
so it's
but
not
it's an
automatic.
auto.
It'll automatically unlock it as long as you succeed using your power. You still have to make a check to make sure you can use your power. And I still need to look up on how we use powers, because there is the strain on the. Some of them have strain. Some of them require energy to activate. That's something we've got to still look at before we actually jump in and play. I know hers have a lot of power requirements, but they're not.
Can
You have
I-
a lot of requirements, but they're not heavy requirements.
Can I pick up a
I have
pick?
some strain.
Yeah.
in
Can I pick up a
mine.
pick for gear slot?
Your pit, yes. Didn't you grab a cracker?
I did,
As
but
a
it wouldn't
crew?
hurt to have
Still have to have it.
have a backup person to be able to.
Well, no, that wouldn't hurt to have it.
So
It's
I have.
gear, so
Yeah.
you also can spend money to improve your ship, which gives you things. Now,
Like rocket launchers that come from outer space?
well, so the ship. I'll touch on the ship real quick.
Rocket launcher?
So you can
Nice.
upgrade the medical suite. You can have an armament workshop, a communications array, external cargo pods, extra quarters, meditation chamber, robotic workshop, and weapons locker. And these all have different effects out of the game. The med bay is one that I would suggest everyone building their ship have, because it makes it so much easier when you're trying to heal your crew,
Oh yeah, might as well
and
have
you're
it.
spending a lot less money.
Well, what's your ship start with?
None of that.
It's just.
It's
Oh.
a ship.
Hey, Mr. Annex, it's okay. We're just testing, man. This isn't the normal show anyway, so yeah, we're just testing the live stream from the coffee shop. And Clint, anyone that wants to know, you have target lock on anything? Is there any
It's a
kind of-
power that gives you a bonus to your shooting, and I think you might have it.
I wonder if can I get that as a gear for snipers?
No, you cannot. It's not going to, unfortunately, give you your sniper as an option. I have to look. I know it's a power that gives you like a +1 or +2 to your shoot ability.
So,
there
yeah.
is also artifacts, alien artifacts, special high-tech weapons that will do that as well. But you got to find it first. So you don't start with any high-tech toys. You're starting with pretty much basic stuff.
Well, this is bull crap.
So I want to jump into powers since we keep kind of putting off the powers real quick.
Okay, what about the
So
power?
we're going to jump into the powers real quick because we were already talking about Keegan's data knock and stuff like that. D has bait and switches, which is one, and so bait and switch is kind of fun. Basically, what she can do with that is, let's say Keegan's character has a loot token and they're almost off the board, and Dee decides to use her bait and switch power. Well, that character now needs to make a willpower roll. If he fails a willpower roll, he tosses the loot.
Okay, so you fail, you throw it away?
The guy, yep,
Ooh.
if he doesn't make his check, he tosses that loot within 4 inches. Now, if he has another crew member who happens to be real close to him,
You can pick it
he
up.
just picks it up and
What are you
off
doing?
you go with
dummy?
it. Yep. But see, Keegan has something like that too, where you can just
Yeah.
fling it out of their
I got
hand.
the bait. Yeah, see, I got the bait and switch on my first
Fling?
mate.
Yeah, I think it's fling actually. Let me
I
look at
I
have-
think it's data jump. I can take
But-
it out of somebody's
Yeah,
hand.
the data jump, but only
I have
works on
fling.
data. It doesn't
Right,
work on.
But I have the bait and switch on my first mate, and then I got my data jump on my captain.
Okay, sure. That
I have-
that makes sense. Well,
I have fling. I don't know. Is it called bait and switch?
no, bait and switch is actually
Your fling, you can throw people. If I remember.
fling
right.
is you throw people, which
I
means you
fling.
can throw people off a building.
I have
Like
puppet
my-
Oh, I thought you had
master.
bait and switch.
I
No,
don't-
his rogue has bait and switch.
Yeah, my rogue
Yeah.
has bait. and
Okay,
switch.
that's what that was. I'm sorry.
I've
Okay,
also
my
got
bad.
cancel power, which I
I-
think that cancels like her fling ability.
I think yeah, you can make an attempt to cancel.
Stop it.
What?
Now
Stop it. Go ahead.
the cancel immediately cancels all effects of one ongoing line of sight power, so it only works on line of sight power. It has
I'm
no
not
effect on other powers
Huh?
powers with
I'm
other
not with it.
designation. Which reminds me, I want to check something. What was your zombie one?
Puppet
Puppet
master.
fling ability.
Okay,
That's
Puppet
just gonna
Master
be-
is not a line of sight effect,
You know
which
what?
means
You
you
just
can't
don't use
cancel
that
it.
anywhere near monkeys, or
Okay,
they'll
good.
start
It
flinging
is a
food.
touch, which means you've got to get close to the crew. Also, Puppet Master does not work on robots.
So
Does that include all of his Necrons?
you're
Well, they're not robots.
Okay, good.
Who aren't robots, what?
Most of his crew, well, most of his crew won't be Necrons. It's just probably the miniatures we'll use.
Okay.
So, now also remember with your psychic shield, once that damage is reduced, you have to reactivate it. So you have to spend a turn or a power. And whenever you're using a power, you're not making a combat attack or anything. You're spending that turn or that action to use a power. You'll still be able to move because you always get a movement in that phase. But
okay.
I
But-
don't have Psychic Shield though.
well, you have a
Okay.
shield ability of some sort. We'll cross that.
Okay.
Okay, I got a question. Can we pull loans from people in this game?
No.
Pull loans.
Well, there's like
Do you have any
sponsors or
card
whatever.
shark ability?
And we
Right?
already know that nobody's printing any money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Now your Void Blade, that was the other one I really want to touch on. Your Void
Yes.
Blade.
Yeah, screw that
So
thing.
applies to your hand, your sword in this case.
Okay. What does the activate 10 thing mean?
Well, that's
for that?
that's the cost to activate. We'll touch on
Okay.
that. So the Void Blade does an additional 2 damage, and the weapon's indestructible.
It's indestructible.
Yep.
Okay.
It means you have to sacrifice 10 Warhammer pieces to
Yeah.
activate it.
No, them too
Okay.
expensive, man.
So let me go over power descriptions. All right. So the name is the name of the power. Activation. So this is the base activation number of the power. This number increases if the power comes from outside the figure's background, so it's not part of your core group, or if it is taken by the first mate, as explained in Chapter 1. The figure using this power is sometimes referred to as the activator. Strain is the amount of damage taken by the activation of the power if it's successfully activated. That's going to hurt you a bit because your shield does not block that. So you want to be very careful how you're using your powers. Same with Keegan.
What?
So strain on your power,
Yeah.
that's physical damage that you take. So Dee's got some strain 2 stuff because she's got some high-end stuff. She would take 2 points of damage using that power.
Using the.
Constance.
Sorry, I was responding to Mini Warmite.
So even some of the stuff that, like bait and switch is a strain 2. So you'll take 2 points of damage to use bait and switch.
Constance.
Now, activation is the base number for your die roll. So you need, when you're rolling the dice, you need like, say, bait and switch is a 12. You need a 12 or less, which means you're probably going to activate it pretty easy.
So it's
Because you're rolling a d20.
Yeah, this isn't points based.
It's
This is
We're
you
answering
start
a
and you
question.
pick from.
so you get 400
book.
credits,
Oh,
and
for
then
the,
you buy.
Well,
what
yeah,
you
for,
want
for the crew, it's correct.
for the
yeah.
crew.
That's what
you still
someone was
gotta,
asking, yeah.
You still got to create your captain and your first mate. Those you
Yes,
don't
but-
spend credits on.
But on equipping yourself, don't you?
Equipment, so there's no cost on the equipment. That's the nice thing. The equipment doesn't cost you anything. It just takes a gear slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But to buy other equipment after it starts,
Yes.
yeah,
it's
then there's
credit.
there's something different with that. A lot of times you'll find better equipment in the loot. Because once you get the loot off the table and the scenario's done, everybody rolls to see what their loot is.
yeah, and you can sell extra loot, can't you?
You can sell the extra loot for money. You can, if you get a better weapon, you can sell your old weapon for credit.
So you'd make. Yeah.
Let
Okay.
me find the loot table.
So actually, there's a lot to
There's
choose
a lot
from
to
creating
this.
your crew. You have a lot of options. It's not very expensive, and once you create the crew,
No, and it's open source, so whatever
Wow.
miniatures you
Yes.
want to bring to the table, bring it. It's open source. You don't have to have a
You can-
specific.
do you have a battery charger?
No, I don't.
Well, man, live streaming here, man. I've
Yeah.
got like 5% of my battery, and that's gonna die.
Well, you know what? I could probably try to switch to my phone if you know your
Yeah,
path. Well,
we
that'd be
probably at this point.
yeah.
So what I'll
we're
do
kind
is,
of wrapping.
hold on a second.
We'll wrap it up tonight when we during the show.
Yeah, so
Catching people up.
So we're gonna say goodbye from the coffee shop because my phone's at 5%.
yeah.
So I don't know who else is there. I know Mini Warmut's there. I know Dave, you're there,
I think Crystal's there too.
and I'm not sure who else is there. But thank you for showing up. We're just trying to
Trying to see what we can
testing,
do. Yeah.
Yeah. and this is kind of the room we get to go to, you know. So that's why we're here, man. But thank you. Yeah, we'll see you later, Mini Wormwood. Okay.
Goodbye.
So for the podcast, we're going to still go for a little bit. But
Yep.
So I was just skimming the experience point table real quick just to see. So for you get 5 points for each uncontrolled creature reduced to 0 health.
Which would be the AI
It's
creatures.
the AI creatures. But you get 20 points of experience for each loot token you unlock.
We're going to need to create a board for this.
So
We're gonna need to
you're
create
going to
a
have to track
DM
it.
board.
Yep. You get 30 points automatically just for playing your crew. Evie? I don't think she does.
No, we didn't think about brainstorming.
I have
No.
a cord, but I don't have
Oh, that's
the
okay.
block.
So
That's all right.
That's in the
It's all
car,
good.
though.
I'll just have to.
you only get 10 points for each power you activate. So for
Okay.
each member of a rival crew reduced to 0 by a member of your crew, you get 10 points experience. So
it sounds like you can get a decent amount of experience.
up
pretty
to a
quick.
maximum of 40 points. So there are some caps on some of the stuff.
Well, that's good because then you can't excessively.
Right. So this is a crew may earn a maximum of 300 experience points per game. So you earn up to 300 points. Now, leveling up, that both applies to the captain and the first mate. So as things level up, certain events happen. So
Can you level up your crew too, or no?
no, just your captain or your first mate.
Okay.
Since your captain starts at level 15, the next time they level up, they'll have a stat to lower their activation number. Then their next level up will improve a stat.
Can you lose levels?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
You can never lose the experiences that you have in real life.
Yeah. So now there is
First mate starts at 0, right?
first mate starts at 0 level, and they'll level up a lot faster, obviously.
At first, yeah.
There is a cap on your stats. So you can't have a move higher than 7. You can't have a fight higher than +6, a shoot higher than +6, a willpower higher than +8, and your health cannot go above 25 unless you have a power or an item.
Okay.
And those don't actually put your health up; they just take the damage before
Gotcha.
you do. So every 100 points of experience will gain you a level, but it's a level per. So if you gain 200 points of experience, you could put 100 points on the captain and 100 points on the first mate, but it's not 100. It's not 200 points for the captain, 200 points for the first mate. It's one or the other.
Okay.
So if you do get a full 300, which is the maximum, then you would have obviously a couple level bumps. Realistically, most gameplay, if you were to get all the loot tokens off the table, not counting my one scenario, then you're looking at almost 100 experience points just for that.
Oh wow.
Because if you got all 4 loot, most people are not going to
Yeah.
get all 5 loot. Most people are not going to get all 5 loot. So you're going to get 30 just for playing. You get 30 points if your crew had at least one figure reduced to 0 health during the game. So if somebody dies, you get 30 experience points.
All right.
You don't get 30
Don't
per
hire
crew.
that dummy again.
You just get 30. Well, he's dead, so yeah, you just get 30 points. You do get 10 points for each power activated by the captain of the first mate, up to a maximum of 100 points. So you could gain 100 points just popping off powers left and right, but boy, you'll be almost dead doing that. So for each rival crew member reduced to 0 health, you get 40. You get 10 points up to a maximum of 40, and then for each uncontrolled creature, you get +5 up to a maximum of 20. So it does cap out it to a point. That way you're not leveling up every time you play, and
But you're leveling up enough that you can use it.
yeah, but you
you're
can
not
still
overkill
do
too fast.
Exactly. Plus, you gotta remember whatever loot you're grabbing, and loot.
Which could have artifacts.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like
loot
that,
could be, because there is a chart to roll.
Does your
Um,
data? Can your data give you
Your
stuff?
data can give you stuff. Mostly the data converts to money.
Okay.
Because it's assuming you're
It's
selling the
intelligence
data,
you stole.
you hack somebody's bank account, whatever. Let's just give you an idea. There, right there. There's your AIs right there. This and this. This is just it. It's pretty simple. They pretty much just attack. They'll either attack or ignore. Bearing in mind, injury could be bad because they can become permanent. and that really does hinder characters. All right, loot. So there are data loot tables, physical loot tables. So the best thing you can roll is a 20 on a D20 for the data table. Will give you 200 credits.
Damn.
The best thing you can roll on a physical loot table is an alien artifact, and then you check the alien artifact table.
See what you got.
Some of the data table will give you advanced tech, advanced weapons, and then you check that table. Some of it just is credits. Now, rolling a 6, for example, on the data loot table is a D20 times 20 for credits. So you could potentially make a lot of money doing that.
A D20.
Times 20. So it's 20 times 20.
Jesus.
Yeah. But like trade goods, for example, you get physical loot trade goods out of 6, that's 400 credits.
Oh, that's not that much. It's only 400.
Yeah, that's still a lot. Now, the advanced weapons table will give you stuff like extended range pistol, pistol plus 1 damage, plus 1 shoot, extended range, and plus 1 damage. It kind of depends on the weapon you have. Advanced technology could give you an advanced deck, advanced picks, an integrated filter mask, a nano surgery kit, light armor with energy shielding, antitoxin system, psychic shields, and it goes into detail there. Now, the alien technology could give you like a plasma blaster, anti-gravity patch, weapons cage, extended magazine, robotic antenna, jet boots, ghillie suit, lift gloves, hard suit, pulsar, neuron polarity reverser, grapple gun, robot scrambler, ablative armor plates, data virus, power sector, pistol belt is alien technology. Well, that's advanced technology. I'm sorry, that's not alien technology. Damn, that's a lot of advanced technology. Alien.
So so is it easy to find this book?
Yeah, I bought it off Amazon.
Okay.
For how much? Like $30? Something like
It
that?
is $35.
Not bad.
It'd probably be worth it.
It
to
would probably
have
be worth it to have, or at least the
so
PDF,
that you can.
just to reference everything.
Okay.
So,
PDF would be good.
Alien Tech has something that is quite possibly a cursed item.
What?
Yep.
What does that do to you?
So once per game, if a figure carrying this device attempts to activate the Puppet Master power, they may choose to either gain +2 to the activation roll or treat the power as if it has a strain 1 instead of 2, which is handy. Do you want a cursed item? Dark energy crystal. Figure carrying this crystal uses dark energy power. That power is treated as having a strain 0 instead of strain 1.
So you use it for evil.
Yeah, you pretty much can. So data, energizer, enhanced energy shield. First time in the game that the figure carries this device, activates the energy shield. The power of that shield can absorb 4 points of damage instead of 3. Subsequent use of the power are treated as normal. So it gets a one-time boost the first time you use it, normal after that.
So I want those things that if I'm a
So,
mystic.
You would,
I wanna
but it
do,
depends
like,
on
those kinds of
what
things.
you pull. I mean, these are random roll to see what you get.
Oh,
but
they're
this
random?
This,
Okay.
yeah, you roll your loot, you see what it is, then you roll to see what that is. So first
Oh,
you're going
so
to roll to
it's-
see if it's
I
advanced
don't get to
tech.
decide.
No, it's random.
Okay.
Now, in my
So
scenario,
you could end up with multiple of the same loot. You might
You
as well
could.
sell one off.
yeah, you could sell one off or whatever. Now it doesn't.
Okay.
I got to see about selling. I definitely going to crew sell trade.
So you're able to sell items.
So that's why I got to figure out where the. It's just a sell item column. Did I miss something on the chart? Oh yeah. So if you sell off something, it does list the cost for selling it.
Okay, so as far as
Well, actually, in some cases, it does list the purchase price for buying alien artifacts or high-tech items too, but they're super expensive.
terrain
Yes.
goes, can you just
We mean
dress it up like you like, or
terrain.
Terrain.
Do
They
you
they
use
want
terrain,
you to
or-
put terrain.
Oh
on
yeah,
here.
you use a
You
lot of
just-
terrain.
you just like throw terrain around?
Well,
and
so we'll
to
set
hide
no.
behind,
Generally,
or what?
generally when we're playing, I'll set up a terrain because whoever's running the scenario part of it is going to need to know how to set up the terrain and where to put the loot. Because while you're going to have the main loot in the middle, other loot is placed in other spots, and depending on the type of terrain,
Mhm.
So generally, he'll have to come in. We'll have to wait for him to set
Yeah,
it up,
you'll have
and
to
then we'll come in.
wait me to set it up
Oh,
and then
so
go
we
from
won't
there.
know what's there.
Well, you'll know. I mean, if once we start doing like the scenarios in a book that are all 6 in order, you'll know what they are, except for the fact that you roll each time to see, is this in a space colony? Is it in a forest? Is it whatever? It's this scenario, but it might take place here or here or here. It might be a swampy environment. It might be a rocky mountainous environment.
Should we each bring a piece of terrain to add
No,
to
some
the...
of that I'm going to look at and see,
Yeah.
because I want to kind of make a flowing story arc.
Okay.
So I might determine that ahead of time.
Okay.
Just for the 6 run. Now, the first time we play these few test runs, we'll just kind of I'll use something pretty generic and we'll just play.
Okay.
So,
I have a portal. Just don't forget that.
Well, no.
but that's I guess podcast wise, that's really all I want to touch on for Stargrave for
Okay,
today.
well, that's quite a bit there,
bit.
really.
And I didn't want to get into the rules. We'll play a few games, then we'll just do a video of us playing.
I
And
think
we'll
that'd
worry
be
about
good.
the rules.
I'll have
you
to
know.
create a sheet for me.
The
to,
biggest thing was getting the crew created, figure out what you want for your miniatures, and then getting started. We have a ton of terrain, even some foresty stuff. We will need more foresty. We'll need more plant-based terrain. I also now need to look. I was looking at some of the bad guys, the AIs. We're gonna need definitely. I'm gonna need
Well,
some
it's
of the
easy to go
D&D
get
stuff.
plant-based terrain. Just go down to the nursery and get all sorts of seeds.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
D&D does have a lot of plant
There is a
monsters,
lot you can
so
pick
I will
up.
be using a lot of those
You may as
for
well.
that.
Oh, so you have stuff
I can get some
that
stuff.
we know not of.
But like there are literally bandits, pirates, whatever as enemies. You could be fighting another crew of
Yeah,
pirates.
a random crew could come
Random
on
crew
and
of
try
pirates.
to take it from us.
Yeah. So again, you guys can duke it out with each other, but it's not in your best interest to do that because you pay to fix your crew and you don't gain that much experience from duking it out.
You're better off working together.
You
Get
gain a little more experience from taking out the other
Well,
the
not
AIs
working
and
together,
getting the
but
loot.
running in, grabbing, and bolting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what he's saying. If you could either, I don't know, it looks to me like you could work together, or you could just avoid killing each other.
Yeah,
Because then
and
you're
yep, you
wasting
could.
your own stuff. Yeah.
So it very much
So the only reason we'd need medics is if you kill us.
no. You'll
Because
need
of-
medics, period,
heal
because
from
the
the
AI
environment.
units can
They'll
The
kill
thing
you.
of- yeah,
They'll kill us.
the AIs can.
Okay.
So it doesn't hurt to have a medic on hand.
No, it does not hurt to have a medic on hand. Now, eventually, you could spend 500 credits and upgrade your ship, but a medic can actually operate in the game.
Yeah, because
So
I thought you
you're-
said something about nanosurgery.
There is
Field nanosurgery.
that's one of the alien artifacts. But if you just had a med kit, here I'll go back to the gear real quick. The med kit itself is going to give the medic. Yeah, there's a nanosurgery kit that's more advanced. But let's see, where's the regular med kit?
Well, we'll have to do a scenario where you can play it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
Med
live
kit.
stream it from a
Okay.
live stream it, from the phone or something.
From another
Uh,
coffee shop.
So the
What's
med
the
kit
other?
can be used in an unlimited time. You have to use it as an action. So you have to. Your medic has to use the med kit as an action.
Now, does he
So
heal in the
your-
same one, or does it take
so
multiple turns?
The recipient figure is immediately cured of any toxins, immediately recovers from stun, and is no longer treated as wounded unless you lose additional health. So what the med kit does is once you've taken a lot of damage, it keeps you from getting a critical effect, a long-lasting effect, but it doesn't restore your damage. The
Med bay does.
the med bay does, and what is the nano?
nanotechnology surgery or nanosurgery.
Yeah,
or whatever.
that starts doing more. It's good to have the medic just to keep you from going under or being a permanent damage. Because you do roll once you're wounded to see. There are charts for that. And you there's different types of damage which I'll cover when we play. But there is a chart for rolling with your guys who are seriously wounded at the end to see if it is permanent or not. In some cases you could be dead, badly wounded, or make full recovery. Depends on how you roll. Now, mind you, this is your crew, this is your captains. So you've got a little more option with your captain and your first mate, more than you do the crew. But your crew could be dead.
Nice.
And then you pay for new crew. then if
Well,
they
yes
do
and no.
take,
If you just use a whole bunch of runners, you don't need crap.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But if you get a permanent injury, then you have to roll to see what that permanent injury is and what that effect is, and that can be bad. So, like, say you lose an eye, you're at a -1 to your fight roll permanently. Crushed arm. Figure suffers permanent bone or muscle damage to its arm. It suffers -1 to fight penalty, and the injury can be received twice of cumulative effective -2. So if you get it again, it's a -2.
If you get it a third time,
And
you're done.
Yeah, and that's permanent. That's not a.
Doesn't go away. It's gonna
It doesn't
affect
go
your
away.
stats
It's
all the
yeah,
time.
it does.
Well, hold on.
Oh my
if that
gosh.
happens, can you then, if you have a med bay, have surgery, and have a robotic arm put on in place?
Well, the game doesn't delve into cybernetics in that regard, but I'm assuming that will probably be an option at some point. Because otherwise, why would you have a fully functional advanced med bay?
and not be able to
And
have
I'll be
that.
able to use it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now, the upgrade player may re-roll the survival roll for one soldier special or standard. Each game, the second roll must be taken. That's what the med bay does right now. I do see that as being something later on
They update
that they do.
and get cybernetic arms and whatnot. So,
Like
well, it's not too bad.
Actually, the
then.
meditation chamber is handier to D because it gives you a +2 to your activation roll for mystic trance powers.
How do I
makes
get that?
sense.
Well, that's part of your ship.
How many slots do you allowed on your ship?
That's a nice ship.
As many as you want.
So long as I can afford to buy it,
Just
I
pay
can keep
for it.
adding on.
So if she wanted the meditation chamber, she'd pay 400 credits. Somewhere on your sheet, you're going to want to write ship and then whatever you have on the ship.
So if I had saved
What else does the ship have?
a few credits back from my crew, I could use it for the ship credits?
You could use credits for whatever you
For
want.
anything, okay.
For anything. Credits are credits, and they work anywhere.
I did end up with 8 crew and 2 leaders, so
Yeah.
that worked.
So it's going to be earning potential from the loot you get.
We just have to get a lot of loot.
Well,
You
just
also
have to-
want to level up. You want your crew, especially your first mate, you really want your first mate to level up.
Okay.
Because if your captain dies, your first mate is now in control. Your first mate stays at the level they are at. While your captain starts at level 15, your first mate starts at level 0. And if your first outing kills your captain off, you now have a level 0 captain.
That's not good.
No. And you have to hire a new first mate. Which
From
is also
my
level
crew
0.
or
No, you will have to create a new
elsewhere?
first mate.
Just out of nothing.
You'll just
Okay.
create a new first mate.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of good thought put into this game. I'm really loving
The
this.
Yeah.
ship upgrade table, I'm liking looking at
I
it.
like it.
It's, extra quarters, you can have an extra specialist.
Yep.
Robotics, you can create a robot.
Yeah.
Weapons locker gives you +1 damage to any of your weapons.
Yeah, there's a lot of
external cargo
benefits to
pods,
the
you get
ship.
20% of the value, 20% more
Yeah.
in value. It's,
Yeah, there's a lot of advantage to building the ship. Even though you don't physically use the ship in the game, there is
No.
an advantage to it.
Yeah, there is. You could really do some serious fighting with it.
So
Well, you did quite a bit of explaining there, Clint.
yeah, I was trying to focus on this game pretty good.
So,
We kind of sidetracked you a bit on
It's
that.
worth it though.
This
Sounds
game
like
is
it's fun.
just. I was just looking for some open world. I thought it'd be fun to play. I didn't realize the level of complexity on this.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm really excited about this just because of all the extra stuff. And I haven't even created a crew yet. I'm still working on building miniatures and stuff
Well, yeah, because if you play, then one of us has got to drop out for.
for a game. But then you would start controlling the AI creatures.
That's what I'm saying.
Or
It's okay,
whatever.
though, we could take turns.
I'm not that creative. to
So
do
the
that.
AI is simple.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's literally 2 questions: yes or no. Did it do this? Okay, do this. Does it do this? No, do this.
You
It
do-
is literally that. So the AI units, all they do is attack you, basically. But to determine whether they attack you or not will determine on are the criteria met.
You'd be over my shoulder all the time saying, "Oh no, it's
no,
over here."
You're going to go by the book.
And you
It's
can't-
all on
you
one
can't put it up
page.
because
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's all on one page. That's all
Wow,
you just.
it's for dummies like
It's,
me.
GM for dummies.
GM for dummies.
There's the.
That's what we should create. We should create a GM for Dummies book because I
Wow.
don't think there's one out there.
I think there actually is, but it
Probably
did not sell
is.
well. Um,
Okay.
where's my?
Gaming with coffee for dummies.
There you go. That's us today.
This is 38.
And if you want to learn Keegan's dance moves, those are private sale. There goes my lunch.
Whoa.
I think Clint's. Oh, there goes Clint. Making a run to the bathroom.
Alrighty.
This was definitely worth
There you
it.
go. There's your creatures. There's literally it's this or this. This is it.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
no more with the creature. That's
there's-
it.
But like the other stuff that you have to do,
Well,
it's on other pages, right?
no. This is all the creatures do. I mean, you still roll their stats for combat. There's stats in the back of the
But
book
they
for the
don't do
creatures.
much.
They have their own card.
Okay.
But this is how they function.
Okay.
If these criteria are not met, they're just there.
Okay.
Otherwise, they attack or until they're defeated. But then
Okay.
other stuff in the book. All your powers, by the way, are in cards in the back of the book. Every one of your powers. So you could just photocopy and cut them out if you really wanted to.
Mhm. Or
Well,
buy the
I think
PDF,
we can wrap
Yeah.
this one up. It's been about
I
an
might just
hour
do that.
and 20 minutes.
and then I can share my
That's
stuff
pretty
with
neat.
you.
Pretty
So
good
here's
podcast.
basically your
Yeah,
creatures.
right.
Here's their stat stuff right here.
Oh,
This is just depending on what you use for the creatures.
So that's something we'll have to do one on. Is just your character, that part
Your
there.
creatures.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
creature stuff and that's pretty much it. It's
not-
Creature feature.
I got to get ready for the
yeah.
get things together for that show we're doing tonight, you guys. So every Sunday at 4. Clint, this was Stargrave, right? So
Yep.
I'll probably put this in 2.
Yeah.
I could separate it.
Yeah.
And we'll do 2 podcasts out of it.
We could.
And if you guys have any questions, let us know. You can send us questions, gamerswithcoffee@gmail.com. All right. And anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Well,
That's cool. Yeah,
all right.
that was a lot.
Remember, it's a private
Goodbye.
dance.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.